When a team pays over the release clause for a player, you know that their interest in them is warranted, and that's exactly what happened with Real Madrid's latest signing, Arda Güler. Yes, of course he's been called the Turkish Messi. Because of course he has. Just like most wonder kids who possess incredible control, the ability to beat a man on the dribble, and the fact that he is most often utilized as an inverted winger on the right flank. But as always on this channel, we'll do our best to stay away from setting any sort of expectations. Instead, we'll try to explain why those expectations are set so high and provide some comparisons to help you envision what kind of player Arda Güler is. A supreme talent from Ankara who is yet another young signing in Real Madrid's growing roster of youthful ballers. Hey there, I'm Adrian and thanks for joining me here on Rabona TV. For all of our returning subscribers, it's great to see you again, and if you're not subscribed, then go ahead and hit the button below for free. It really helps out the channel, and you wouldn't believe how many people watch the channel without subscribing, about 50%. So join us, don't be shy. Alright guys, I've listed all of my sources below, and let's get into this. I'm excited for this one. Let's start at the beginning, as Arda Güler was born in Ankara, the capital of Turkey, in 2005. Two things here. One, I said Istanbul was the capital of Turkey in a previous video. Don't know what I was thinking, my bad. We got it this time. Two, I cannot believe that I'm talking about a player who just signed for Real Madrid who was born in 2005. Mind you, Endrick was born in 2006, so they're cooking. Anyways, yes, Güler grew up in Ankara, and his dad, in speaking to Goal, illustrated just how much football was pushed onto his son. I know that sounded like a negative thing, but I promise it isn't. Arda was a willing participant when it came to football. As his father Umit said, quote, "We did not have any left footers in our family. I put balloons and footballs in front of his left foot so he would use it more." All of that practice absolutely punting balloons and toy balls around the home clearly paid off, as Arda excelled in football like few kids his age, which prompted his PE teacher to urge Güler's family to take him to a football club, namely, guys, brace yourselves for this pronunciation, Gençlerbirliği. Not the worst, right? I definitely had to look that one up on Vorvo. But after that recommendation from his PE teacher, the Gülers drove their son Arda to the Gençlerbirliği training camp, of which he shone brightly. So bright, in fact, that Arda was placed in the age group above him, which is the hallmark of every top pro, right? Playing a few age groups above you. One of Arda's first coaches at Gençlerbirliği, Erol Tokgözler, would speak of Arda's natural ability with the ball at his feet, telling The Athletic, quote, "The ball is like one of his organs. He's very comfortable with it. That was his most important feature." Jump ahead 5 years, and Gençlerbirliği would prove to be too small of a stage for young Arda. While playing in a match against Osmanlıspor under-14s in December of 2018, a Fenerbahce scout was in attendance, and he was blown away by the young captain. While the scout wasn't able to convince Fenerbahce of his talent immediately, he felt so strongly about Güler that he put together a video presentation for the chairman of the club, Ali Koç, while emphasizing to the chairman that this young player from Ankara had the potential to be a starter for Fenerbahce at the age of 15 or 16. So, Fener paid Gençlerbirliği for a signature, a whopping 400,000 euros in total after all payments for the 14-year-old talent. Arda was easy to convince of the move, as he grew up supporting Fener and he idolized Alex de Souza, one of the top streets won't forget players, in my opinion. Arda's family joined him in Istanbul, not the capital of Turkey, right guys? We knew that. But they joined him 6 months later, which will have helped the homesick 14-year-old greatly. But on the pitch, no help necessary, as Güler's God-given talent mixed with his incredible work rate meant he was flying through the age groups. By the time he was 15, he was already playing with Fenerbahce's U19, scoring 10 goals and assisting 7 times in 22 appearances for the U19s. He then signed his first professional contract in January of 2021, whereupon then-manager Vitor Pereira called him up to train with the first team. The 2021-22 season would be where the rumbles of his outrageous talent would begin to spread across Europe, with Vitor Pereira adding fuel to the fire by saying, quote, "I worked in Porto's academy for 5 years, and I can say that I did not see many players who had Arda's quality and character." The 2021-22 season, namely the latter half of it, is when he really began to pick up speed, grabbing 2 assists in the Conference League against Slavia Prague. He had just turned 17, by the way, as well as scoring 3 and assisting 3 in the Super League. In his first Super League match, he provided the assist to the only goal of the game, demonstrating his ability when it comes to delivering set pieces. In the U19 Super League, he had 4 goals and 6 assists from just 8 appearances. I mean, he's literally too good for that age group, wasn't he? But back to first team stuff. Arda himself says that he grew up watching Ozil, and wouldn't you know it, Ozil happened to be at Fenerbahce while Arda was around, with Arda sometimes replacing one of his idols as a substitute from time to time. With the coaching change, Jorge Jesus came in, and, well, as a Benfica supporter, I can tell you that Jorge Jesus isn't always too keen on trusting the youth. Yes, I am playing hindsight merchant here, but who knows, if Jesus had put his trust in Güler sooner and not waited until the second half of the season, maybe Fenerbahce would have won the title race against Galatasaray, as James Horncastle pointed out. Who knows? He had 6 goals and 7 assists from 35 appearances, and he only turned 18 in February of 2023. So, that begs the question. Well, a good player is measured by more than just his goals and assists, more than just his stats or analytics. I mean, just take someone like Luka Modric for an example. Everyone knows he's a brilliant player, even though his goals and assist stats may not be that high compared to other high output players, but there's more to football than that. Let's start with the analytics here. We already went over the goals and assists haul. What about his other performance data? Güler was truly impressive last season. Again, I have to remind you, the kid just turned 18. Compared to the rest of the league, James Horncastle of The Athletic pointed out that Güler in 2023 was on top in assists per 90, key passes per 90, open play passes in the final third per 90, successful dribbles per 90, possession adjusted pressures per 90, counter pressures per 90. So as you could have guessed, or as you may have seen from whichever matches, scouting videos, or compilations you have watched, Arda is a truly devastating dribbler. His assist against Slavia Prague when he was just 17 years old, just slaloming through the defense. Wow. And no doubt you will have seen some of the videos from Real Madrid's preseason training camps, where Güler is dribbling past any takers and finishing cleanly past the keeper. It's training, it's preseason, yes, but he still looks great. On top of that, his passing is tidy as he always looks to progress the ball forward, while his deliveries from set pieces are fantastic as well. By the way, he has quite the strike from distance in his lockers from time to time, having scored directly from a free kick against Hull last winter, but he can also score from open play, often cutting inside and curling one into the far post as he did for Turkey's senior side against Wales during June's Euro 2024 qualifiers. However, finishing isn't necessarily what I would call a strength of his, comparatively at least, compared to the rest of what he has to offer when it comes to his passing, dribbling, and incredible vision. He's also very willing to press his opponents to death, and while some would say that he's a bit frantic at times in pressing, we also have to remind ourselves once again, he's 18. With some massaging here and there, he will become much more efficient in this area. The fact that as a creative attacker, he's already willing to press and get the ball back is a great start. You can teach a player to be better at pressing, but you can't really make them enjoy it if they don't like doing it already. And in fact, in light of this, a player that I would compare him to, many point to Ozil, which I don't think is wrong, but watching him in those right half spaces, cutting in from the right to use his wand of a left foot, how he can take a delicate touch or power a strike in from distance in equal measure, his small frame, willingness to put the hard yards in without the ball, etc. Güler kind of reminds me of Bernardo Silva, no? There are absolutely similarities there, and again, I'm not giving him the title of the next Bernardo Silva, but I just bring this up for anyone who hasn't seen him play before in order to get an idea of who he's sort of reminiscent of. Is he ready? Is any 18-year-old ever ready to play for Real Madrid? Very few, right? There's always exceptions, of course, I know that, but very few. And while I don't have a crystal ball to see the future, here's what we can hang our hat on. At just 18 years old, Arda Güler already has over 50 senior appearances at the club level, and he has 4 for the Turkish national side as well. That's impressive. For club, he scored 9 and assisted 12 in those 51 appearances, while he has scored once in just 4 appearances for Turkey. Prior to the senior appearances, he was consistently playing at a higher age group, often playing against guys who were 4 years older than him. And let's remember, That doesn't make a difference when everyone is an adult, the 4 years of age difference, but he was at times just 14 or 15 years old up against 18 and 19-year-olds. On top of that, he was often the captain of those sides due to his maturity on and off of the pitch, something that goal writer Emre Sarıkuş highlighted. Off the field, he is able to compartmentalize and switch off from the hype that surrounds him, ensuring he stays calm and is able to relax. After he provided another assist in the return leg against Slavia, for example, he spent the evening playing FIFA with one of his former teammates from the U19s. On top of this, and I know that this is incredibly stupid to bring up and it doesn't have much to do with football, but perhaps you watched the video of his Real Madrid unveiling and how calm he was throughout, even taking the time to wipe some proud tears from his mother's eyes as he was smiling. He just strikes me as a kid who is mature beyond their years. Like, he doesn't actually know just how good he is because, what gives you the right to come into Real Madrid training and pull off a roulette and finish like that as a newbie? Plus, he's already featured in some Fenerbahce and Galatasaray intercontinental derbies, one of the most hostile derbies in the world, and he didn't look shaken by it in the slightest. We still have to temper expectations though. Will he be a starter immediately for Carlo Ancelotti? Likely not, but he's under a manager that will guide the youngster well, just as he did with Vinicius, turning the Brazilian into one of the top players in the world. Anelka, Ozil, Sahin, there are reports that Modric handpicked Güler to take over his number 10 shirt when the Croatian inevitably leaves the Spanish Giants. All these guys are vouching for him. Will he be a huge success? Will he reach the dizzying heights that people expect him to? Who knows? But all that we can say for sure is that when it comes to raw product, to raw talent, Arda Güler is one of the most promising talents in the world of football at the moment, and seemingly has the maturity to match. Now, let's just watch the boy play and see what happens. That's it for this one, and I hope this was helpful in giving you a better idea of just who Real Madrid signed from Fenerbahce. If you enjoyed this video, then do me a favor and drop a like, always helpful. And if you loved it and you want to continue your relationship with me, go ahead and subscribe. It's free. All right, guys, thanks again and be well. Ciao.